From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, People's Democratic Party inaugurates Presidential Campaign Council with promise to rescue Nigeria. 4 governors absent. Senate President loses return to Senate as court recognizes Bashir Machina as APC Yobe North senatorial candidate. President Buhari sets agenda on climate change, inaugurates National Council. On the foreign scene, 11 killed, dozens missing after attack on Burkina Faso convoy. Hello and a warm welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I am Ayinde Shuaga. Presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar says the ruling APC government has lost the essence of governance for its failure to secure Nigerians, pledging that his party will rescue the country. The former vice president, who made the remark at the inauguration of the party's Presidential Campaign Council and book launch in Abuja, also called on his compatriots to join him in the struggle. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports.
It was a 2-in-1 event meant to capture the life and times, legal battles, disposition or restructuring of the PDP presidential candidate coming on the sidelines of the inauguration of the party's campaign council.
There is no other better time than now for Nigerians to know about you.
But beyond these formalities, the PDP is kickstarting its presidential campaign anchored on the premise of rescuing Nigeria, a country the party governed for 16 years until the electorate voted it out in 2015.
All of us are going to hit the ground running, and we shall work collectively as a family and expeditiously to ensure the victory of our party.
To build a strong and effective democratic government where the safety and security of our people and their property is our primary and singularly most important responsibility.
The event also exposed the deepening acrimony that led to the pullout of some critical stakeholders, including a vice chairman south of the party's campaign council and Governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde. Their strategic absence could be seen as a setback to the relentless efforts of the party's presidential flag bearer to pacify the aggrieved members. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Members of the Labour Party on Wednesday kicked off their campaign ahead of the 2023 general elections with a mega rally in Jos, the Plateau State capital. Peter Obi and Dati Baba Ahmed, the party's presidential and vice presidential candidates, and other party stakeholders were present.
We are going to swear him in as president.
A federal high court sitting in Damaturu, the Yobe State capital, has declared Bashir Machina as authentic APC senatorial candidate for Yobe North in the forthcoming 2023 National Assembly elections. The court also ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to publish his name accordingly. Presiding Judge Justice Fadima Aminu gave the order on Wednesday in Damaturu. The judge affirmed that Machina was duly and validly elected Yobe North senatorial candidate for APC during the May 28 primary election of the party.
Any person that is victorious will be happy with that. And on the other side, where you are not victorious, you feel sad about it. So I'm happy that we succeeded in bringing forth the justice of this case. You see, when you talk of justice, and that is why justice has no face, if you see the symbol of justice, it doesn't look at who is involved. It looks at the justice of the court, of the case. The court has just done what, by law, every judge is expected to do.
We've commended the court. The court has done its job. That's the court of the work of the judge. So the candidate will be appropriately advised, and he will take the decision.
Every person has the right of appeal. You cannot stop them from appealing, but we'll do what we have done at the upper court. All that is expected is for us to bring up all the facts required to show that the trial court never made mistakes.
Meanwhile, Bashir Machina says the judgment has raised hope for the common man and a step towards strengthening democratic governance in the country.
I'm feeling very great and feeling highly contented and confident that at least, alhamdulillah, our judicial system has once again reiterated the confidence that it is for every citizen, it is for the common man. So there is hope. And then secondly, I felt this is another step that will once again strengthen our democracy. You know, at least our democracy is still nascent. So I believe this is part of things that will encourage people to once again more and more participate in our democratic systems. As much as possible, going by how they are heading by the 2023 Electoral Act, I will simply say we are giving more confidence in addition to the earlier confidence we have on the electoral body. So we are hoping, having been directed by the court, they will do the needful.
Also, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has reacted to the judgment on nullification of all PDP primaries in Ogun State and that of Senators Adamu Aliero and Yahaya Abdullahi in Kebbi State. INEC National Commissioner Festus Okoye, in an earlier interview, said the commission will monitor fresh primaries when they see what the court order says.
The conduct of party primaries remains essentially within the domestic realm of the various political parties. From my own reading of the order that was given by Justice Oguntoyinbo of the Federal High Court, Abeokuta, the complaint relates to the authenticity of the delegates list used in the conduct of that particular primaries. And so when we see the court order, we will know specifically what the court ordered should be done. If the court made a consequential order that party primaries should be conducted afresh, and then the commission will have no choice or alternative than to send monitors to go and monitor fresh party primaries. But it depends on the consequential order which the court has made, which we have to see before we can take action, because we don't rely on even oral hearsay or documentary hearsay or even newspaper reports in coming to a conclusion on what a court order says and what a court order does not say. We have to subject it to our own processes and procedures and understand clearly what the court expects us to do and the exact orders the court has given, and then we comply and we obey.
3 people, including a police officer, have been killed in Beni Sheikh area of Kaga local government in Borno State. Confirming the incident to newsmen in Maiduguri, the Commissioner of Police, Abdul Umar, revealed that 4 trucks and civilian JTF office were burnt during the attack by terrorists. The terrorists also attempted to kidnap its personnel in Gubbio local government. The briefing, according to the Commissioner of Police, was to urge politicians and indigents to avoid engaging in violent activities as the election campaigns kick off. He said more than 1,800 police constabularies will be posted to all local governments to curb crime and arrest political crises in the state.
Where they equally sneak in and attack them, they were able to go with one of the police healers, and we lost a rifle. And initially, they wanted to go away with some of our personnel, but coming with the air support, they always come back for help. They help themselves, and my policeman and the hunters and JTF escaped that abduction. You are to inform the local government chairman, community leaders, and leadership of all political parties in your areas of responsibility on this ban. Nobody will use any outfit, security outfit, quasi outfit, to say they are escorting him for political campaign, carrying machete, daggers, and what have they. It is banned, it's not allowed.
The Igbo community in Osun State has called on security agencies in the state to put necessary measures in place to ensure adequate security before, during, and after the 2023 general elections. Secretary of Osun State Council of Eze Ndigbo, Eze Anthony Onyenwesi, made the call in an interview with Trust TV in Osogbo. He lamented that Igbos in Osun State were attacked by hoodlums after declaration of the winner of the July 16 governorship election, adding that their properties were vandalized and looted. Onyenwesi, who is also the Eze Ndigbo of Okiniland, said such attacks on the Igbos after elections were common and expressed the hope that such would not repeat after the 2023 elections.
So we want to appeal to our people to, be peace-loving and law-abiding. We want to also appeal to the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps and the other sister agencies that they should look our way. For example, let me bring it to your notice that shortly after the July 16 governorship election, on 17th, some of our people were attacked at a place called Old Garage here in Osogbo, where their business premises was vandalized. So we are not too happy about that. Most of our people came from Abuja, from Enugu and the other places, but we have to, downplay that incident because of the fragile nature of peace that we're having in the country. Because if you allow it, some of this might blow it out of proportion. So we have to handle it within internally. You understand? So we want all these security agents in the state.
A federal high court sitting in Lagos has ordered the Labour Party and its supporters not to converge on the Lekki toll gate for its Obidati 23 Forward Ever rally billed to hold on the 1st of October 2022. The court also directed the Inspector General of Police and the Lagos State Police Commissioner to ensure compliance with the order. Justice Daniel Osiago gave these orders on Wednesday while ruling on a motion for injunction brought by 10 plaintiffs who are asking the court to, among others, restrain the Labour Party, its presidential candidate Peter Obi, his vice Yusuf Dati Baba Ahmed, one Julius Abure, and their loyalists from holding the rally. The court also held that while the rally cannot stop at the Lekki toll gate, it can pass through the venue to access Falomo Bridge and other venues at which the rally plans to meet. A preliminary objection filed by the defendants seeking to stop the court from hearing the motion on grounds that it lacked jurisdiction could, however, not be entertained, as all parties to the suit had not been served. The court adjourned hearing of the substantive suit to November 4. Terrorists in their numbers riding motorcycles attacked Dansauni village of Patagarawa local government area of Katsina State. The attackers killed one Alhaji Haruna Maidankune. The terrorists harassed and assaulted the villagers before abducting an unspecified number of people, including women and children, in the process. They also went away with about 7 motorcycles, foodstuffs, and other valuables. The terrorists have warned the villagers against informing security operatives about their movements. A resident told Trust TV's Abdullahi Yamadi that the terrorists have warned them of deadly consequences if they are found maintaining any relation with security operatives. Troops of Operation Forest Sanity have carried out a raid on a bandits' hideout in furtherance of clearance operations in the Kuriga, Manini, Hudawa general areas along the Chikun-Biringwari boundary. A statement by the Commissioner, Ministry of Internal Affairs and Home Affairs in the state, Samuel Aruan, the troops rescued 3 kidnapped persons identified as Luka Ibrahim, Yusuf Jibril, and Saminu Abdullahi, who have now been reunited with their families. Aruan said the troops recovered 1 AK-47 rifle, 18 rounds of ammunition, and 11 pump-action cartridges. The Kaduna State government commended the troops for another successful round of operations in the area and urged members of the public to immediately report suspicious individuals seeking treatment for gunshot injuries to the Security Operations Room, as most of the bandits escaped with gunshot wounds. Gunmen have reportedly attacked a military checkpoint at Obiagu Amodu Road in Enugu South local government area of Enugu State. According to reports, the gunmen stormed the checkpoint in 2 Lexus Jeeps and 1 Toyota Sienna on Tuesday, shooting at a combined team of policemen and soldiers at the checkpoint. Although 2 security personnel were reported killed, the military and the police in the Enugu did not confirm the incident. This is not the first time the checkpoint in Obiagu has come under this kind of attack, hence the reason for the combined security presence in the area. The incident caused panic among the residents of the area and its environs. Efforts to get comments of the police were not successful, as the police public relations officer in the state, Daniel Ndukwe, did not take calls or respond to text messages for confirmation. Soldiers of the Nigeria Army have neutralized 2 of the gunmen who came to attack them at a checkpoint in Ngbidi, Oru West local government area of Imo State, southeast Nigeria. The soldiers were able to withstand their attackers, who came in their numbers, shooting sporadically at them. According to reports, the soldiers logically engaged them, and 2 of them were brought down, and 1 of their AK-47 rifles and security walkie-talkie were recovered. Sources say 2 soldiers injured in the process are currently receiving treatment from the minor injuries they sustained. The Lagos State Police Command says the command is investigating 3 suspects arrested with live cartridges on their way to Katsina State. According to the State Police Public Relations Officer, SP Benjamin Hundeyi, the suspects were intercepted with 2 commercial buses loaded with an unspecified number of live cartridges, 3 dismantled motorcycles, phones, among other items. Abbas Dalibi reports.
The state police spokesperson Benjamin Hundeyin told Trust TV that, with the support of some members of the community, the operatives of the Ikorodu division of the Lagos State Police Command intercept 2 commercial buses loaded with large quantity of live cartridges, and 3 suspects were arrested. He said the police is working with the members of the community to checkmate any illegal activity going on within the communities.
The divisional police officer in that area quickly mobilized his men to that place, where they found 3 men loading a vehicle with live ammunition and several rounds of live ammunition, 3 dismantled motorcycles. So they were promptly arrested, taken to the police station first, but because of the sensitivity around it, we had to move them to the headquarters. And as I speak to you now, they are at the State Criminal Investigation Department.
The President, Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria, Musa Metakobi, who is also the Lagos State Chairman of the association, disclosed that the buses and the suspect were not arrested at the designated car park in Lagos. Then called on passengers to desist from going to undesignated motor parks for their own safety.
I'm drawing the attention of all the passengers that is commuters, always before you bought any motor, you make sure you went to the garage where been designed by the government. So if there is anything, the government will follow it up to know where even the vehicle take up.
However, Ado Dansudu, one of the leaders of Arewa community in Lagos, spoke on the importance of working together in the fight against the proliferation of illegal firearms into the country.
I don't see the reason why you will supply something which maybe your father or your mother or your brother can be kidnapped or can be killed by what you supply. So people doesn't think what is going to happen to them. They don't think what is going to happen to their parents or their brothers or their fathers, even their relatives.
They said security is everybody's business. Therefore, for a sustainable security posture in the country, the mindset of people must be reshaped. Abbas Ibrahim Alibi, Trust TV, Lagos.
You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break, motorists lament state of Lafia-Akwanga Road. Stay with us.
As the 2023 elections draw near, remember, evil prospers when good men and women only wish for peace, but never take a step to make peaceful elections happen. Are you a father? Are you a mother? What are you saying to your children as elections approach? Have you warned them not to let themselves be used to cause violence? Have you explained to them what the consequences of electoral violence might be? Do your part to make peaceful elections happen. Talk to your children. Protect them from unscrupulous politicians who want to put them in harm's way, while their own children are comfortable at home, within and outside the country. Let's join hands to make 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NOAA.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is News Hour on Trust TV. A recap of our top stories. People's Democratic Party inaugurates Presidential Campaign Council with promise to rescue Nigeria, 4 governors absent. And Senate President loses return to Senate as court recognizes Bashir Machina as APC Yobe North senatorial candidate. Chief of Staff to the President, Ibrahim Gambari, says Nigeria must create conscious policy and political effort towards converting its population endowment into real power and influence. The Chief of Staff made the comment on Tuesday at the 20th Convocation Lecture in honor of graduating cadets of 69 regular corps and postgraduate students of the Nigerian Defense Academy, Kaduna. Bello Musa reports.
The title of the 20th Convocation Lecture of the Nigerian Defense Academy (NDA) is national security in an evolving world order. Delivering the lecture, Professor Ibrahim Gambari said Nigerian internal security services need constant investment and the review of the curricula of the national defense courses.
As with our internal security services, the Times also called for constant investment in the comprehensive review of the curricula for the training of the National Defense Forces to imbibe them with strategic planning, foresight, and future capability that ensure that they are as operationally proficient in reacting to threats as they are efficient in anticipating patterns and containing challenges.
He said revising the national defense doctrine in the present security challenges calls for immediate reflection.
Revising the national defense doctrine in the face of the changing nature and patterns of threat also called for immediate reflection. How, for example, do we complement the boots we deploy for conventional operations with a capacity for cyber warfare?
Earlier, Commandant of the Nigerian Defense Academy, Major General Ibrahim Yusuf, reminds the cadet of the task ahead after graduation.
This ceremony is not merely to celebrate your capability to excel in challenging atmosphere, but to remind you of the life after this place as you set out to pursue the careers and specializations which you have evidently been trained to stand out.
The lecture is part of the event for the passing out of cadet of 59 regular course and postgraduate students of the NDA. Bello Musa, Trust TV News Kaduna.
Nigeria is currently experiencing insecurity in almost all parts of the country. To bring this under control, Children's Parliament in FCT, led by its ambassador, Splendor Joe King, is calling on the authorities to factor them into peace-building process. Yusuf Akogu reports.
Lending their voices to the high rate of insecurity in the country, these children are calling on parents and the relevant authorities to join the campaign that promote peaceful coexistence in all communities across the country. Citing high rates of unemployment, bad leadership as some of the major reasons for continuous rise in crime rates, these young Nigerians say parent commitment to peace will restore societal values.
The idea of peace clubs starting with schools is to mainstream the children into peace building and peace development, to instill in them the mindset of peace, and to get rid of any handed down callings known with them from their tribe, religion, or ethnic groups. Above all, build in them the culture of think peace and think humanity.
I wish that Nigeria, this our great Nigeria, will have peace in this country, and I wish there shall be no more war or fighting in this country.
Parents should take care of their children, or else their children might end up into a bad situation.
The need for parents to pay more attention to their children is also emphasized.
We believe that the family is the smallest portion of the society. Put it, this nucleus of the society. It means what is in our society today as Nigerians is a reflection of our families.
The youth, they feel excluded from the decision making in the society. And this starts from the home. As a father, as a parent, you are making decisions in your house and your children are not part of it.
For members of the armed forces, the intervention of children in peace building and development is a welcome development.
Despite being a security agency that is responsible for prosecuting war, if our children are not carried along effectively on issues of peace initiative, then all we are doing to ensure that we overcome the challenges that we have in this country today will not have a future perspective.
The occasion also marked the flag-off of Peace Club in all Air Force schools nationwide. Yusuf Akogu, Trust Television News, Abuja.
The Federal Executive Council has approved 580.5 million naira for procurement of 4 armored vehicles to fight dangerous and illicit drugs by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA. Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, made this known to State House correspondents at the end of the Council's meeting, which was chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari in Abuja on Wednesday. The minister said the decision to procure the armored vehicles was taken to encourage and safeguard the lives of NDLEA personnel who have recorded impressive results so far. According to him, between January and July 2022, the NDLEA arrested 18,940 suspects and secured 2,904 convictions. At Petro, our stakeholders in the tourism sector have called on investors to explore potentials in the sector to develop the Nigerian economy as well as social interactions. They made the call after an awareness street walk organized by the tourism development experts to mark the World Tourism Day 2022 in Bauchi. Adamu Imam reports.
According to the organizers, the street walk and campaign awareness was to make people realize the importance of tourism in nation building and also commemorate the World Tourism Day 2022.
So that everybody to have a little knowledge about the World Tourism Day. Yes, this is awareness campaign. That's why you can see different people come. We have corpers, we have from NTDC, we have from NIHO, National Institute for Hospitality, government official, private sector, and what have you. Therefore, we have a lot of people so that to understand that there must be very important day in the state, being Bauchi as a field of tourism.
Some of the participants at the event says the awareness is a pointer that something needs to be done in the tourism sector to give opportunity for more people to explore the benefits therein.
We are so grateful we are alive to see this wonderful day. At least people have seen what we have showcased to show that Bauchi State is a part of tourism indeed. Every stranger here has seen and have noticed what has just happened. And people around and within have seen it, that yes, there is tourism here in Bauchi. Whatever used to be the reason for not going forward in tourism, I believe after this showcase, after this march pass, all is going to be well.
Other places I've been, I see them uphold things like this. I've never seen it in Bauchi, though their slogan is Pearl of Tourism. But today made me to be so impressed. And they have places like Gambari, that's a very good tourism destination where they can generate revenue from. And me, being someone that studied hospitality management and tourism, I'm impressed. Seriously, with what I saw today, it shows that they are actually going somewhere, and I believe they will get wherever their destination is, inshallah.
These stakeholders appreciated the state government for securing the games reserves by recruiting 67 rangers to guard all tourism spots in the state. Representative of the Nigerian Tourism Development Corporation, Lucas Nathaniel, also reflected on the day and appealed to the state government to sustain effort geared towards boosting tourism activities across the state. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
A petrol tanker crashed in Ankpa, Kogi State on Wednesday, killing over 20 persons. The incident happened on a bridge on Oturukpo Road in the eastern part of Ankpa, witnesses said. Details were very sketchy at press time, but sources said more than 20 persons may have been burned to death, with scores injured. Commitment towards ensuring investment in the women and youth population for improved participation in nation building remains the responsibility of government and development partners. With the current global and economic downturn resulting in a direct negative consequence on local economies, the need to build the capacities of youths and women to ensure economic and political growth of the country has become even more imperative for achieving Sustainable Development Goal 5 as established by the United Nations. Trust TV's Aisha Salihu was at a forum where this was placed at the front burner in order to promote national development. Her report.
A nation's youth and women population would contribute more to its social, economic, and political stability when their capacities are harnessed through integration. This fact is not lost on the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development as it is working with the Development Research and Project Center to achieve the goal.
Our women's better equipped, better involved, especially in the participation in the social, political and economic activities in Nigeria towards the nation building. We want to see the women step up the more participation. All we're talking about is about participation. If you stay back in the confines of your sitting room, your bedroom, nobody will come for you. So you have to step out to make the voices heard.
We hope to increase the capacity of women's associations on advocacy and communication as well as strategic leadership, because we think these women are pivotal to the push for increasing salience for women's economic empowerment and then advancing Nigeria into economic development. We know from watching what happens in other countries that have practiced women's economic empowerment that this is a sure way of getting the country from where we currently are to economic development.
Development partners believe that the initiative will better equip women to access funds to implement projects that would improve them economically, cater to their leadership roles, planning and management, among others.
It's actually important for us to be able to know how to go about grant writing, for you to actually know the first steps of it, understanding why you're doing that grant writing, especially understanding why you're writing a proposal, the whole idea of you not just writing a grant proposal, but having to know what to do with that grant when it comes in, the idea and the purpose and the end goal of it. So it's actually going to help us as well to be able to know how to go about these things, because at the end of the day, when you get these grants, it helps to enhance the society.
The process is to provide them with capacity to be able to apply for funding, either from donors or from the government, to be able to continue to exist and function and do the good work that they're doing in this space. For us, we want to see a developed third sector, which is the civil society space. And we think one of the ways to make civil society more prominent is to be able to build their capacity to be able to access funding.
Empowerment of women and youth is a necessity for the development of a society, since it enhances both the quality and the quantity of human resources available for national development. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Petty trading has been described as one of the means for women to support their families, especially now that the economic downturn is taking a toll on families. A petty trader, Aisha Hamza, who gave the advice, said although she started her business with a little amount, she is now able to support her family. Aisha further explained that starting a petty trade is not easy, especially in Nigeria, where ease of doing business is relatively low, adding that it needs perseverance and encouragement to survive.
The time I start with corn. I dey cook corn. From there, I come gather small thing. Gather 4,000 naira for game. I start with vegetable, ugu, alefo with water leaf, ewedu, okra. Come dey do am small. It helped me well. I thank God, business is a business. My 3 children dey university. One dey her husband house. I don't build house for village, I build for Abuja where I live. I thank God, business good. Even though person they do government work, e good may carry business more join them, especially women. Case any day where your husband no get anything to come house, inside that business we go carry some support house that day so that fight no go day house. No, na patient too. Like this ugu now, we go buy all this one, especially ugu, water leaf, green, ewedu, okra. This one they bring money pass all this food stuff. If you get that one, you will sell that one alone. They make money pass all this one. But it's good when a person get this one, join them together. May the person have patience. If they do them every day by day, before you know, money don't come. And you too go surprise, say, Waiting I put for table where God help me like this. Na patient for everything.
National Economic Conference in Kano has identified unreliability of data as inimical to women's economic empowerment in Nigeria. The consensus among participants is that changing the narrative requires collaborative efforts between government and private organizations in the country. Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibrin reports.
Because once you give women opportunity, they can take the entire day.
Organized by the Nigerian Economic Society in partnership with the Development Research and Project Center, this session of the annual conference aims at tracking, analyzing and calculating the impact of government, private and donor investments in women's economic empowerment in Nigeria, as well as the challenges of data reliability and microeconomic methodology.
The Women Corp project are some of the projects that are specifically focusing on women alone, not combined with men, artisan, farmer, or other people. So women, we can have vocational training or grant for women and girls, vocational training for widows, for ladies, for wives.
We need empowerment to bring us from our low self-esteem and to give us the confidence and the right to choices. The right to be in decision-making.
According to experts, partnership for advancing women in economic development includes addressing the challenges faced by the average local woman in accessing funds, problem of data tracking for women's economic empowerment, and how best to economically empower women.
Women are not taking over. We don't want to take over men's jobs, no. That's not what gender equality and what we are asking for, parity. The woman is asking for a voice. She's asking to be heard, asking to have equal opportunities in everything we do. So when men begin to think that it's a failure for men and a rise for women, or is a zero-sum game, no.
When you talk about women empowerment, you talk about the informal sector. And education is paramount. You have to develop their skills, give them social protection. And if they're educated, they can even protect themselves. They don't need anybody to protect them. They have the right to make their own decisions, own their own properties. Take their kids to school. They can arrest simple emergencies.
In order to achieve the desired objectives, recommendations and observations were offered on how best the Nigerian Economic Society and DPRC could solve the problem of women across the country. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
The Senate on Wednesday considered and passed for second reading a bill seeking to regulate and formalize informal sector employment in Nigeria. Sponsor of the bill, Senator Mohammed Sani, while presenting the bill, said it also seeks to empower the National Directorate of Employment, NDE, to issue licenses and monitor privately owned agencies. The report.
In the face of labor malpractices in the informal sector of the economy, a bill to provide cover for the employees in that sector is underway at the Senate. The sponsor of the bill, Senator Mohammed Sani, said the operation in the informal sector was usually on a small scale with labor-intensive production and usually private ownership driven. As such, there was a need to provide legislation in favor of the huge labor force in that sector.
The primary goal of this bill is to regulate this sector to promote strategic objectives, the promotion of rights at work, employment, social protection, and social dialogue. On the contrary, many jobs in the informal labor market in Nigeria still experience decent work deficit. Employees in the informal sector are often seen as having no rights and are not treated fairly by their employers. All of this bill seeks to correct.
Other lawmakers in their contributions described the bill as a welcome development.
To me, Mr. President, both the content of the intent of the bill are most timely relevant to the modern day Nigeria. Globally, Mr. President, this private sector is purely regulated in the interest and for the interest of every citizen of any of those countries above, including Nigeria.
As much as we have this issue of indecent work as this bill seeks to protect, the other aspect I would also like us to highlight is there are also situations where these same informal workers have had cause to deal with those who employ them.
The Senate President Ahmed Lawa has since referred the bill to the relevant committee for further legislative input after it scaled through second reading.
A bill for an act to regulate and formalize the employment of domestic workers, apprenticeships, interns, and other informal sector employees in Nigeria, and to empower the National Directorate of Employment to issue license and monitor privately owned employment agencies whose responsibility will be to enroll employees in their data bank, safeguard and enhance their social security, and oversee their recruitment by employers who engage in legitimate occupation on such terms and conditions as may be agreed by the parties, and for other related matters. 2022 second reading taken, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Labour and Productivity.
The committee is expected to report back in 4 weeks.
President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday in Abuja charged the National Council on Climate Change to formulate appropriate policies toward achieving green growth and sustainable economic development for Nigeria. Inaugurating the council before the commencement of the Federal Executive Council meeting, the president said it marked the commencement of implementation of the Climate Change Act 2021 and a new chapter in the renewed response to climate change in the country. The president also directed Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, in liaison with the Minister of Environment, to initiate appropriate amendments of noticeable implementation challenges inherent in the Act, highlighting the losses and damages caused by the recent increasing floods in several parts of the country, as well as in Pakistan, Bangladesh, and other parts of East and Southern Africa. The president described climate change as one of the biggest challenges facing humanity. Delta State government has commenced moves to evacuate residents across the state who have been displaced by this year's flood to internally displaced persons camps. Director General of the Delta State Orientation Bureau, Eugene Uzum, disclosed this during a sensitization exercise at Oko area of the state. The report.
The sensitization, according to the DG, is part of efforts to cushion the effect of the flood on victims by informing them of the government's plans. Uzum and his team are assuring the victims, most of them homeless, of relief and safety till the area becomes habitable.
The government of Senator Okoye committee, led by the Secretary to the State Government, don't they put the camp together now. Inside that camp, hospital dey. Inside that camp, school dey for inside. Inside that camp, una go fit dey do una church activity. When we don enumerate una finish, carry una comot from this place. For inside that camp, dem go dey feed una.
The permanent secretary of the Bureau, Stella McCurley, on her part, disclosed the challenges being faced during evacuation.
We've had a situation where we got to a community and we were turned back. They said their gods were angry. We now had to explain what the problem is. And at the end of the day, they accepted our message, and we also told them in turn that they had to leave. In fact, they had to harvest their crops early enough so that it's not total devastation.
The internally displaced persons who recounted their losses called for urgent intervention from the government.
It's very many things for us. So just keep us for everybody. But our house inside, everything is spoiled. Both farm, everything. So we don't have anything like that. That's why we are this place.
This environment, my children now don't get anywhere to stay. Until now, hungry they catch me as you see me so. I get belly. Now, my house, I never figure water they reach me here. Now, I need help.
Last year we were very, very full, but this year it's too much.
So nowhere to go. Make us to come upland to stay.
The displaced persons are hopeful that with government intervention in the pipeline, they would be able to stand again.
Motorists plying major roads linking Nasarawa State and other parts of the country have appealed to the federal government to fix the collapsed sections of the Lafia-Akwanga Road. Abubakar Abdullahi reports that the section linking the state to other parts of the country has collapsed due largely to persistent rains in the area. His report is presented from our studio.
This is the difficulty motorists passing through Lafia and Akwanga town in Jos in Plateau State and other parts of the country face as sections of the road have collapsed. In Lafia, motorists have to use one lane of the road because the other lane has collapsed. Apart from the locals, people across the country are relying on these two major roads to move either from the north to the south and from the south to the north to carry out one activity or the other. Hashiru Abubakar is a motorist. He is not happy with the condition of the road.
The government have to interfere immediately. They have to come immediately and repairing this. They have to interfere immediately. We have told the state government, they have to call the federal government to come and interfere about this road immediately. Because there is problem. If this road break finish now, so all those cars where they are passing here to the east, they are going back to follow Abuja. So the conjunction, they are going to cause the problem in the federal government.
Men of the Nasarawa State sector of the Federal Road Safety Corps were handy to control movement of the vehicles. The sector said it would ensure that vehicles are guided while plying the roads.
So since then,
You're still watching NewsHour on Trust TV. More stories after the break. Welcome back on NewsHour. On Tuesday, the Central Bank of Nigeria's Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, increased the benchmark interest rate by 150 basis points. The MPC moved the monetary policy rate, MPR, from 14 to 15.5% and hiked the cash reserve ratio by 500 basis points, CRR, to 32.5. According to the MPC, the measures were as a result of aggressive inflation. As a follow-up to the meeting, the CBN held a post-MPC explainer meeting to justify the committee's decision. Chamun Dabeng reports.
The final decision of the MPC to raise the MPR by 150 basis points and the CRR by 500 basis points has sparked not only reactions but worries amongst Nigerians, sparking many questions on its impact on loan rates, MSMEs and ultimately the Nigerian economy as a whole. Director Bank Supervision Mustafa Haruna stated that the rates will inevitably go up, adding, however, that there would be a trade-off.
There is going to be a trade-off. The customers of banks, have their loans, even though at a very high cost, but at least it is not going to be too significant that will really impact their own bottom line as well. But ultimately, what we are expecting to see, like I said, is to rein inflation, and the banking system is a veritable channel for the transmission of monetary policy.
Part of the decisions of the MPC was to halt intervention funding and only support critical sectors effective Tuesday.
To make sure that the monetary policy tool that has been deployed is very effective, you definitely need to constrain the money supply. So indeed, we've closed the gates only interventions that are very, very critical. MSMEs that are statutory. We take 5% of every bank's profit after tax. It's not a lot to deploy to SMEs. And then supporting the electricity sector is very, very critical. I'm sure you all know we'll be providing liquidity, and then we're going into a regime where we're doing what you call the TXDX.
With the scarcity of foreign exchange within the nation triggering issues in several sectors of the
On the foreign scene, Burkina Faso's government says at least 11 soldiers have been killed and 50 civilians missing after armed fighters attacked a 150-vehicle military escorted convoy taking supplies to a northern town. In a statement on Tuesday, the government said the assault took place on Monday at the community of Gaskende in Soum province, where armed groups linked to Al-Qaeda and the ISIS group have been escalating attacks and seizing territory since 2015. Some 28 people, including 20 soldiers, were wounded, while dozens of trucks were destroyed. Violence has raged in Burkina Faso since Lieutenant Colonel Paul Henry Sandaogo Damiba seized power in a coup in January, toppling the West African country's elected leader and promising to rein in the armed groups. And now sports news. It is yet unclear whether or not the scheduled Nigeria Football Federation elective congress slated to hold on Friday, 30th September 2022 in Benin City, Edo State, will go on due to a federal high court in Abuja issuing an ex parte order stopping the scheduled NFF elective congress in Benin City. Now with that we conclude News Hour on Trust Television. Don't forget to join us. Follow us on all our social media platforms. I'm Indeshuaga, thanking you for watching.